All right, guys, today is Sunday, March 17th, and we're going to take a look at the Euro USD, what I'm looking at, what we are expecting for the market to do, especially this week with the FOMC, Federal Reserve interest rate. And every time there's a FOMC week, there's always some good movement. So last week we finally got a decent move on Thursday, and then finally on Friday we didn't really have much, but I'm gonna go back to what I was looking at or what I was explaining the prior week and what I was looking to see. I was basically short here, and then I removed all positions. And then I wanted to wait to see for more clarity to see what the market was going to do, and then I actually initiated a short. I think I have it at 1.09 32. I would have to look at my positions, but basically, I'll start with the trend line that I was looking at about 2 weeks ago. So this support to resistance area right over here, you can see I tried to short here, market closed above it, so I just got out of that position, and then we attempted a move to the upside. Finally found some support here. Now, I wasn't sure if I wanted to get short right away because it was still finding support here at this pivot level. And you can even see on this wick here, I attempted to go below that, but obviously we want to wait till the close of the daily candle to see what the market's really trying to do. And actually, even though it was down most of the day, at the end of the day of the candle closed, it actually closed green at slightly green, which is at plus 0.01%. So finally, it attempted to go up, and I wanted to see if it was going to close back above this trend line again. But uh, even though I thought it was going to push higher and get that drive, couldn't close. Still find resistance here, and then finally it started pushing down to the downside. I initiated a short, and right now I think I was up about 50 pips or so, and I actually enabled another short position, a little. I think it was above 1.0890, and I have some risk management rules in place just in case this market starts going up, and I can mitigate the risk of a loss and get out at break even at worst case scenario, right? So anyway, so this trend line here is no longer in place since it kind of played out already. Kind of found a resistance area right around 1.0950, and then made that nice drive to the downside. Friday, we really closed. I would have liked to see a push down at least to see 1.0850, but basically didn't do anything. It's just it ended up green, but just pretty much flat, right? So that's where I'm holding on positions. I want to see what's going to happen this week. If now that we're back below the yearly pivot level, I want to see this market's going to start pushing to the downside and start testing this area. So I have these trend lines up in place, usually from the high point to a support area. Now it closed below it, but now when we open up later on today, I wonder if we're going to gap up or we're going to gap below this point. Doesn't really matter at this point because I already have my positions in play, but I still have multiple areas that I want to look for. Same thing, resistance to this support, and another one here from resistance to this support here. All right, so if I remove this, still staying below this resistance level. If we start trading above 1.09900, then I think I'm just going to start removing positions or scale back and say, okay, let me wait to see what this thing is really going to do. And especially with FOMC on a Wednesday, if we're going to drive back up. But right now, it looks like we could continue on to the downside. And at least, at minimum, if we do continue to the downside, I'm looking for this area again, like I pointed out in the previous video. This was a major point of support. You see the previous support here in December 2023, and then we came down here. And even though I pushed down a little bit more, the market still found this area as support and made that nice move to the upside to test this area of the pivot again. Even though we had some support back here and we drove below it, this could be just a pullback and then a test of this area and then a push right back down. So that's what I'm looking for. If we start continuing to the downside, I want to see this area get broken and then for us to move down to the next major area of support, which would be just below 1.06, preferably 1.05, 550. But first, this is going to be the first hurdle, assuming we get down here. If we start trading around this area and we start breaking below, then yeah, this area of support is what I'd be looking for a long position. Now, looking at the weekly chart, you can see this area still is, it's a good area of support if we drive all the way back here. Okay, all the way back to February 2023, and then around October, November, December, October 2023, support here, support here. If we start driving to the downside, I suspect that this area is going to be a really strong support. Again, this is all assuming that we start trading below 1.08 and we get below this median level right over here. Right, that's going to be the first hurdle. So I want to see if the market drives down, and especially there's a small little gap right over here to see if we're going to close that gap and continue to the downside. So if I remove, what's interesting about this, if I remove this trend line, this is a long-term pattern I have, but assuming we get a move to this down area, to this support area around 1.05, 50, maybe a little lower than that, I could see kind of like a descending triangle playing out. And if I draw it, if I visualize it for you guys, see, again, assuming this holds as resistance, and then a support area right over here. Okay, so let's assume that this market comes down. Okay, it starts trading down here, finds some support, and then makes a nice drive to the upside. So that's a good possibility as well. That's something I'm keeping an eye on. But again, not to get too far ahead, looking at the daily chart, this is what I want to look for to see if we stay below 1.09 and start driving below. So we'll see what happens going forward. I have two short positions, and I'll scale in if we start moving more to the downside, but I won't add any. If anything, I'll remove or take partial positions if we start driving back up. But I want to see a move continue to the downside, and then once we get to this area, if we do get to this area, then I'll start adding maybe another position or two for another move to the downside. This whole thing is about 300 pips and change, but we just want to keep an eye on the price action and just manage the trade from there. So we'll see what happens with FOMC on Wednesday, and like I said, always manage your risk and let the market play out the way it's going to play out. We can't always assume that the market's going to do something just because it looks like it's going to do make a specific move. But that's why, again, we manage the risk and then we evaluate the market after the move has completed, and then we take steps to analyze the next steps. All right, so we'll see what happens on FOMC on Wednesday, and I might do a pre-FOMC video, but if not, I will see you guys in the next video. Take care, manage your risk once again, and I'll see you next video.